What's up, everyone? My name is Shanna, and I'm so excited because we're kicking off a brand new series today called Newish. Do you love getting something new? Because I know I do. Maybe it's a brand new pair of sneakers or a really cool jacket, or maybe when you start a new school year, there's a fun opportunity to try out for a play or a team that you really want to get on. I remember when I started off the new school year, I really wanted this new pair of Converse. They were bright, they were exciting, and we had to wear uniforms, so it was the only statement piece that I really got to wear every day. What's interesting about getting new things or entering into a new season in your life is that newness always brings about change. And the truth is, whether it's good or not so good, we may not always like or want change. Maybe you do like change. I think it's super fun to get a new pet, make a new friend, join a new club, or even get a new hobby. Even the changes and experiences we have from going to elementary school to middle school can be exciting. But for some of us, we don't think change is all that great. And we don't love the feeling that goes along with those changes, like how you can feel intimidated when you have to move schools, or your world is turned upside down if your parents get a divorce or an older sibling goes off to college. Even just being in middle school can bring a lot of changes that don't feel ideal. Things like losing friends, puberty, confusing classes, those are just some of the things that you're probably going through day to day. Maybe you're experiencing some sort of change right now. Maybe you've just gotten to the other side of a huge life change, or you're wishing for a change because your life just seems a little boring at the moment. Or maybe you're hoping for a change because your current situation is not great. No matter how you feel about change, I think we can all agree that change, good or bad, moves parts of our lives around. And change can disrupt our routine. It can feel awkward, and it can also feel really difficult. And as middle schoolers, you may have noticed that when your life starts to change, often there's nothing you can do to stop it. It can make you feel out of control, overwhelmed, anxious, and even just powerless. Wherever you find yourself, the truth is that change is inevitable and part of being human. Change either just happened, is happening, or is about to happen in your life. So, since change is going to be part of our lives no matter what, how do we deal with it? How can we learn to embrace change even when it feels like we're out of control? In order to answer that question, we're gonna look at some writings from one of the wisest people to have ever lived, King Solomon. He asked for wisdom, and God gave it to him, so this guy was really smart. In fact, we actually have the account of God granting this guy the gift of wisdom, so his words can be trusted. So let's check out what King Solomon had to say about change. For everything, there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to turn away, a time to search and a time to quit searching, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be quiet and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. So you may be asking, what in the world did we just read? Well, in this passage, Solomon used poetic language to explain that life is seasonal. There's a time and a place for all things in our lives. Just like some seasons around the world change from summer to fall to winter to spring, our lives have seasons too. And I don't know about you, but where I live, by the time August arrives in the summertime, I'm ready for fall. I'm ready for the temperature to drop and to bring out the bonfires and sweaters and watch football. But no matter how ready I am for those things, I can't make them happen any faster. And in the middle of January, when I'm missing summer, no matter how badly I would like to, I can't go back to warm summer nights. Whether I like it or not, I'm in the season I'm in. And that's okay. You see, when we start to see life like seasons, we can start to see change differently. When we accept that life is changing, we can see change as full of possibility. No matter what season of life you're in, you have the opportunity to embrace it. Instead of wishing away the change or hoping for a change in the near future, you can decide to be fully present exactly where you are. But I also want to acknowledge that there are certain heartaches that come with change that you absolutely wish would go away. It could be like having a sick loved one, navigating a new move, or having a difficult situation with a friend. Regardless of the season we are in, I want us to remember this. The truth is, Change is a part of life. Now, that doesn't mean change is easy, but when we look at life as seasonal, we realize that we can acknowledge the change. Imagine if we didn't acknowledge the seasons. It would be wild if we wore a coat in the summer just because we were wishing for snow. Or we laid out on our back porch in January just because you wanted a tan. To be honest, I think you would have a better chance of getting frostbite than a tan. Or think about this. You might come back from summer vacation in snow gear. Or you try to sled down a hill in August. I would not recommend it. Or you want to go for a little swim in February. Once again, frostbite. All of this would be considered very bad timing and for the most part, dangerous. It is important to embrace the season or the change you are in. So what do we do? When we experience a change and we realize we've stepped into a new season of life, how do we make the most of it? I want to give you 3 ways to embrace the season that you're in. First, acknowledge. It's important to acknowledge how you feel about the seasons of your life. When I say make the most of where you are, I am not saying to fake smile and pretend like everything is okay when you're struggling with the changes in your life. You can be honest with how you're feeling. And you can do this by being honest with yourself, being honest with the safe people in your life, and being honest with God. Next, accept. Imagine if nothing ever changed. What if you stayed in elementary school forever, or ate the same thing for lunch every single day, or did the same thing every weekend? There would be no excitement, no adventure. There would be no learning new things and no growing into the person who God has created you to be. In new seasons, it's important to accept that change is happening and that there is good that comes from it. And finally, anticipate. We can anticipate change. When change occurs, we don't have to be completely thrown off because we know that life never stays the same. We can anticipate new seasons and know that change is inevitable, normal, and okay. We can also know that even difficult things that are happening can turn into something good. You may be able to learn a lesson from a hard season. And if you're in a really difficult season of hurt that doesn't seem like anything good is going to come from it, I encourage you to talk to a trusted adult. There are some difficulties that could challenge you to grow in an area you didn't realize you needed to grow in, and others that require a little extra guidance. You could make a new friend or grow closer with someone because of the difficult change you're experiencing. Change can be scary, but when we learn to embrace the changes in our life, we can grow. So, when you move to small groups, ask yourself this question: what would it look like to embrace the season that you're in?